Hey boys, it's Arm9. Today, we're going for a tour of my facility in Grand Theft Auto Online, and within my facility are my militarized and my armed vehicles. Now, this is not all of them. Obviously, my helicopters, stuff like that, they're in my hangar. I've got night sharks and stuff like that in other garages, but for the majority of my armored vehicles and my armed vehicles, they are within my facilities. So anyway, I figured I would take you guys for a tour of my facility. So let's hop in. Alright, so here we are in my facility. We'll of course start off with the Avenger. If you don't have an Avenger in your facility, then, well, you can put one in here. This is the only place where you can actually store the Avenger too, so that is an important thing with the facility. The Avenger basically is an aerial MOC, except it's less armored. It is faster and more maneuverable than the MOC because obviously, well, it can fly, so that kind of helps. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the Avenger. The next vehicle we have here is, of course, the Chernobog. Now, this is a vehicle that I honestly can't say I recommend picking up because it's not very, useful. It has the best missiles in the game, and it's got the highest lock-on distance in the entire game for the missiles, so it's really good against, aircraft like jets and stuff like that. However, in order to actually use this thing, you'll first have to drive it, and it's very slow, to somewhere where you can actually see something. Then you're gonna have to put down these supports. It's got supports that will stick out of the bottom of it and actually raise the wheels off of the ground. There they are, right there in between the two wheels here. So it'll raise it off the ground. Then you're gonna have to get out. You're gonna have to go into the second door on the vehicle, and that will allow you to actually operate the missiles. Like I said, they're very good. They have the highest lock-on distance in the entire game out of any missile. And they're very good. The tracking on these is insane. You can kill Mark IIs with it very easily. However, it's just such a pain to use that it's really not worth it. And it's also kind of expensive. So overall, the Chernobog, it's just not that great of a vehicle. It's cool, don't get me wrong. I like the thing, but I would honestly never use it unless I had a friend to play with. So that's really the only time that you should actually use the Chernobog, in my opinion. Anyway, on to the next vehicle. We of course have the Night Shark here. This thing is fully window plated out. I also have a Night Shark that doesn't have window plates on it, but this one does. I know that these don't actually do anything. They don't give you any extra armor protection at all. However, the reason that I use them is because I play on PC, and I feel like a lot of the time when you're driving a vehicle like the Night Shark and somebody's shooting at you, a lot of people for some reason actually think that the window plating does something. And so a lot of the time, if they can't see you, they're not even going to bother shooting. So that's usually what I find, or they are going to shoot and, they're going to miss. So that's why I have the window plating on my Night Shark. I know it's kind of useless, but I feel like it does honestly help rather than just having it be a complete fishbowl. So that's why I use it. Obviously, the Night Shark, it's a great vehicle. It's one of the most armored vehicles in the game. It's also one of the fastest armored vehicles in the game, so it's really good. Obviously, it's a 4-seater as well. If you guys are interested in the camo that I have on all of these vehicles, it is matte black, and I believe it is urban camo. So it's matte black, primary and secondary, and it's urban camo. I'm just going to say that because I know I'm inevitably going to get a comment about it and asking, so that's what I've got on pretty much all of these vehicles. Next up, of course, we have the APC. The APC is a good vehicle. It's aquatic, obviously. It's amphibious. You can take it into the water and on land. It's got the crazy little cannon on the top of it. You can also equip it with a SAM battery that will shoot 6 missiles out of it, in rapid succession, which is pretty good. I think it's actually 5 missiles now that I think about it. Very good. I mean, it does a lot of damage. However, the SAM battery is limited to 52 missiles, I think it is, or maybe 50 missiles. So that's why I have the regular turret on this thing, because it has unlimited. So that's why I have that. This thing's also a 4-seater. The 2 rear people in the APC get access to side-mounted machine guns, which are pretty good. It's a pretty good vehicle. It's kind of slow. It has a really low top speed. And in the water, if you don't go into the water with some momentum behind you, it is kind of slow in the water too, but it can still go. So that is pretty cool. So that's pretty much it for the APC. It's a pretty useful vehicle. It's got decent enough armor. I mean, it's a good vehicle. Next up, of course, we have the Barrage. Now the Barrage can take about 6 missiles, I think it is, 6 suppressor missiles before it blows up. So not exactly super armored. I mean, the Night Shark can take 27, for example. So, this thing's a lot weaker. The Barrage, it's an interesting vehicle. It is also a 4-seater, I believe it is. Maybe it's actually, I think it might actually be a 3-seater. Yeah, no, it is. It's a 3-seater, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, it's got the rear-mounted minigun on the back, and then the front-mounted minigun on the front as well. You know what? It is actually a 4-seater now that I think about it. I know I've flip-flopped on that quite a bit. It is a 4-seater. Very cool vehicle. There's lots of customization you can do to it. I don't know how I feel about like the size of the wheels on this thing. The wheels are like insanely big on it. I feel like it'd be a little bit better looking if maybe it had smaller wheels, but I mean, it's not bad looking, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't know, the Barrage, not super useful, but it's still a cool car to have, that's for sure. Yeah, it's decent enough. That's it for this one. Let's move on to the next vehicle. Next up, of course, we have the RCV. I believe this is one of 2 vehicles that you can own in Grand Theft Auto Online that have sirens and lights on them. And of course, the sirens and lights will allow you to drive through traffic, and vehicles will actually pull over to the side of the road. When I say that, I've got a bunch of comments saying that that's a lie and that that doesn't actually happen, or that they don't believe me. Well, try it for yourself. Steal a cop car and literally turn the lights and sirens off and drive through traffic and watch all the cars pull over. But anyway, the RCV is like one of 2 vehicles I think that you can own in GTA Online that actually have lights and sirens, which is pretty cool. On top of that, it's also got this water cannon on the top of it, which is pretty neat. Obviously, RCV stands for Riot Control Van, or Riot Control Vehicle, I guess you could say as well. The water cannon is to disperse crowds, I guess, which is pretty cool. Now, the RCV is not very fast. It's also a vehicle that you cannot sell once you buy it. I got a comment the other day asking me how to sell the RCV. You can't, unfortunately. You cannot sell this thing. Same with the Chernobog as well, by the way, so keep that in mind if you're planning on buying either of them. You cannot sell them, so just, you know, keep that in mind for sure. RCV, you know, it's cool enough. It's a little expensive. I think it's like 1.5 mil, something like that. But, you know, it's a decent enough vehicle. I don't believe that this thing has any customization, so that kind of sucks. But, I mean, still decent enough. Up next, of course, we have the Bravado Half-Track. Now, the Half-Track, I mean, it's one of the most armored vehicles in the game. It's also got a completely bulletproof front windshield, so that is pretty insane. You literally cannot be shot through this thing. It's also got this roller that's equipable on the front, which can absolutely launch vehicles out of your way. Obviously, it's it's called the Half-Track, so the back wheels are, well, replaced by tracks. It's pretty good off-road. It's also got a proximity mine dropper, and it's got this pretty crazy cannon on the back of it. I've only got the dual cannon equipped. I don't have the triple cannon, or sorry, the quad cannon, I should say. I don't have that equipped because I have the research done for it, but I think that I customized this before I had the research done, something like that. Anyway, it's a 3-seater. You can seat a driver, a passenger, and then somebody on the back, obviously. So, you know, it's pretty decent. It has the exact same armor ability as the Night Shark over there. Can take 27 Oppressor Mark II rockets before it blows up. So, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty well armored. The only problem that it has is that it's really, really slow, which sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, it's a decent enough vehicle. Really, I can't complain about it at all. So that's it for the Half-Track. Onto the next vehicle. Of course, we have another Night Shark. This one has no window plating on it, so you can really get just clapped through this thing because people can see you a lot easier, like I mentioned with the last one. I didn't mention with the last Night Shark, it actually has a front-mounted machine gun. I think it's got a dual or a quad front-mounted machine gun. I can't remember. It's one or the other. So pretty good. Yeah, the Night Shark, I mean, it's fast, it's armored, 27 homing missiles from an Oppressor Mark II. I mean, it's a good vehicle. So that's it for this one. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Next up, we of course have the TM02 Khanjali. I think everyone probably knows about the Khanjali. This thing has a railgun equipped on it. You can have a regular cannon or the railgun equipped. I chose the railgun. Pretty good. The secondary passenger within the Khanjali gets access to that 50 cal machine gun on the top of it. And the third and fourth passengers get access to the side-mounted grenade launchers that you guys can see right there. So pretty good. The grenade launchers do have a limited amount of ammo, so that is something to keep in mind. The Khanjali's pretty good. It doesn't have as much armor as the Half-Track. I think it can take about 12 RPGs or like maybe 12 homing missiles. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's been a while since I've looked. But the Khanjali, I mean, it's got armor, it just doesn't have a lot of armor, so it's kind of unfortunate, but it's still a really good vehicle, so really there's no complaints from me. I mean, I use this thing, you know, semi-often. Obviously, it's tracked, it's literally a tank. You can drive over vehicles with it. I mean, it's a good vehicle. That's really all I have to say about it. Up next, of course, we have the HVY Menacer. The Menacer basically is a worse version of the Insurgent, in my opinion. It's just, it doesn't have as good of armor. It doesn't have as good of ground clearance. It does have a proximity mine dropper, does have the mounted 50 cal machine gun on the roof. It's a 4-seater. I mean, there's really not much to say about it. It's a good vehicle. It's just not quite as good as the Insurgent Pickup Custom. I think the Pickup Custom is probably realistically the best vehicle in Grand Theft Auto Online as far as like armored with like a machine gun and stuff like that goes. I think it's pretty hard to beat it, that's for sure. So the Menacer is decent enough, but the Insurgent Pickup Custom is just a little bit better. The Insurgent Pickup Custom I think is actually a little bit cheaper as well, if I'm not mistaken. So Menacer, it's good. It's faster than the Insurgent, I would say, or at least equivalent in speed. Just kind of not as good in some other areas. And with that being said, the Insurgent Pickup Custom is the last vehicle in the garage. I mean, if you just look at these two vehicles, the Insurgent just looks more capable. The Menacer is just small and like kind of short, whereas the Insurgent is like, you know, long and tall. Obviously the gunner is far better protected on the Insurgent Pickup Custom than on the Menacer. I do have heavy armor plating equipped on mine, which is why there's that shroud around the turret, which does help to protect the gunner quite a lot, but it also makes it so that people inside of the Insurgent cannot shoot their guns out of the Insurgent. However, the driver does get access to a proximity mine dropper, very similar to the Menacer and the Half-Track, so that is nice to have. The Khanjali also has that too. I forgot to mention that, I think. So another good feature. The Insurgent can also seat 9 players, which is pretty insane. I've never had a full 9-player Insurgent in GTA. I'm looking to do that though sometime. I think that would be absolutely crazy to see. Just an Insurgent just filled to the max with a bunch of dudes. So anyway, the Insurgent Pickup Custom can take 27 homing rockets from an Oppressor Mark II, which is pretty good. That's more than an Oppressor Mark II carries. Obviously, it carries 20, so you will be able to survive against a Mark II, you know. So long as it's not blowing up a bunch of cars that are like beside you in traffic, then you should be able to survive against a Mark II, so that's pretty good. Insurgent, it has crazy abilities, like for as far as ramming vehicles out of your way. Like you can move like Los Santos City buses out of your way with this thing if you hit them hard enough. Overall, I mean, the Insurgent Pickup Custom, it is my favorite armored vehicle in GTA Online, so I'm definitely pretty biased, but I do just think that it is truly the best. I mean, it's absolutely awesome. It looks great. It has great ground clearance as well, so you can go off-roading with it. It's a little more capable off-road than like the Menacer or the Night Shark, really, or even the Half-Track, just because it's so much faster. The Insurgent Pickup Custom, you really cannot go wrong with this vehicle. Anyway guys, that has been it for my militarized garage in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like is of course appreciated, if not dislike. Subscribe if you guys are new. Let me know in the comments down below what other garages you would like me to take you for a tour of, and I'd be happy to do that. And just before we end the video, I also have a thruster over there. I just noticed. I forgot that I bought that, but I have a thruster, so yeah. Anyway guys, I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.